Hey everyone, this is Jim Thompson with PERFLIGHT. Going to do a quick 5-minute video just to show off some of the features in our new 1.2.0 release. As usual, you can see our changelog here on FeatureBase. We're going to talk through these one by one. The biggest and most exciting change now is custom category management. As you know, the app came with a couple of default categories. We had aircraft and liveries were grouped together, airports and scenery. You now have the ability under your data page to go in and define your own custom categories. So here you can actually start out renaming the default ones that exist, right? You can have any name in there that you'd like, and you can create new ones. Just type in a new name down at the bottom. You can actually even reorder the way that they appear by using the up and down arrows if you want to put them in any sort of order that you'd like. Now you might be wondering, what are these little words that have little underlines underneath them? Those are what we call scanner keys. So when we're detecting add-ons inside of your folders, we're going to automatically attempt to say, this is an airport, this is a livery, this is a plane, this is a, an instrument such as a GTN 750 or something like that. And the placement of these determines where those add-ons will get automatically filed away. So if you say, for example, I now have my custom liveries folder. I really want liveries to go into there. All I have to do is click on liveries and say move this to liveries. Or for example, under scenery, you might want to take the scenery off of your airports because again, it was previously combined. Now you can say move this down to my scenery library. So you're basically just telling PERFLIGHT, when you automatically detect aircraft or airports or livery, go ahead and put them in these custom folders as opposed to the default folders. Lastly, you always have sort of a catch-all, which is going to be your unknown. In general, you might just want to leave a category called unknown or other, and then just make sure you know where unknown is, because some add-on developers don't give us enough information to really detect what type of add-on it is. Therefore, it would just drop into your unknown folder. So that's the first one. We've covered off kind of these first two things in the changelog. While we're on the data page, we also have what we call library management. One of the things that we realized when we went live with version 1.0 is, although you could create beautiful libraries, you couldn't delete them anymore. And so, we're looking at a couple things here in terms of how many add-ons are in each library. What is the max depth that we've detected add-ons in terms of nested folder depth? For example, under Orbix, we found add-ons 4 levels deep. And you can use that to inform your depth scanner, which we'll talk about next. But anyway, while you're here, you now have the option to go ahead and rename a library or even delete it. You didn't have that before, so you were just kind of locked into all the libraries that were created. So yeah, you have that additional flexibility, and just realize they're hidden under what are called these kebab menus, these little 3 vertical dots. So that's where you get to them if you want to make changes to the libraries. Up next, let's talk about the depth of the scanning. So we move over to our Performance tab or our Perf tab. Under the little gear icon, we now have a slider that allows you to change what scan depth that you would like. This is how many levels down do you want us to search. Now, as you saw from my data page, the furthest I had was only 4. So if I really wanted to slow the scanner down or improve performance, I could lower this even to 5. Right? So it means the scanner is going to happen faster. It won't bother looking 20 levels deep if I don't have any add-ons that far down. But we do have at least one user who said, hey, I might have things that are 20 levels deep. So you have that option now to crank that all the way up to 20. Okay. Next, the drag and drop photo upload, yet another example of a feature request that the community's asked for. I do a lot with photos. I know a number of you do as well. So this is a great new feature. By the way, you might notice that you're going to see some new default colors here. For example, my airport's default color is purple, whereas, for example, the aircraft default is green. It's a slightly different green. So we're using some intelligent technology to give you an array of different colors so that you can differentiate between your categories. We're not letting you assign custom colors to the categories yet, but you should at least Even if you create 10 custom categories, you should have 10 different complementary colors that are all part of a palette. So as I come down and I'm scanning my add-ons here, for example, I see 3 that stand out that don't have images. One of them is an airport in the Netherlands, Eindhoven. I fly for the virtual KLM, so that's an airport I will hit from time to time. So now, instead of having to go in and select the file, I can actually open up the details. I'm going to grab my images folder real quick. First, I want to put a space in the name, all part of cleaning up my add-ons. Secondly, I want to make sure that I put EHEH, which is the iCal code. And then lastly, I've got a folder of images. Look at this. I can just drag it right on. It's going to automatically upload it. I just hit Save Changes. There you go. Another example, as I scroll down, I saw earlier that I was missing one for Salt Lake City, which is over here. All I have to do is Details. Now look at this. The developer has salt identified as the, which we all know is not the iCal code, so we'll change that to Kilo Sierra Lima Charlie, as it should be. Here's my Salt Lake City image. Just drag that on there. Click Save, and there you go. Pretty cool, huh? That'll save you a couple steps if you're doing a massive cleanup of all of your images, as some of our users have been doing lately. Lastly, admin elevation handling. Now, I run PERFLIGHT in admin mode, but if you don't, or you don't have access to do that, you may notice that sometimes when you try to enable an add-on, you would have gotten an error at the top that says fail to toggle add-on. So now, as of version 1.20, when you do this, we're actually going to detect that your Windows operating system is saying, hey, you can't do this. You need to run this app in admin mode. So all I have to do is click Restart as admin. You will be prompted for Windows Security Update. I'm actually not sure that was actually captured, but yes, I was prompted to restart it in admin rights. Unfortunately, OBS doesn't capture that part of the video. Okay, moving on to the last new feature, which is showing the library name. Somebody actually pointed out that as you're looking through these, while you have categories now, you don't actually know which folder did they come from. So now if you go under your gear icon, you can click Show Library. It's a very small, simple change, but it's going to, inside of your cards, you're going to see, hey, this is in my liveries library, this is in my aircraft library. Let's find some other examples. Makes sense. A lot of my stuff is coming from Inibuilds. Anyway, just a quick reminder of what the associated folder is. And again, those tie back to the ones you'll see here on the data page. One last change. If I sync my flight plan, this is a flight plan from Amsterdam to Heathrow. And inside of SimBrief, I designated that I wanted my units in kilograms. So we're now properly showing the data that comes across in kilograms rather than in pounds. I apologize for that oversight. When we first implemented that feature, we didn't really think about it. And actually, we had written some code to convert it on the fly, which was silly. So that code is no longer in there. Last but not least, you may have noticed that sometimes when you close and then open the app back up a second time, that it was not picking up where you left off. Now it will actually take you back to whatever page you were on before. So for example, if I hit Control-R to refresh the app, you'll see it instantly takes me back to wherever I was prior. And that's your overview of 1.20. I hope you enjoy it. Please join us on Discord and FeatureBase to let us know what you think, and talk to you later.